Welcome back to Prime Tire, where we've wondered for years if we're the only ones who tell ourselves bless you after we sneeze. Now we know it's just us and Carlos Sainz. I'm Patrick, and Madeline Coleman will be along shortly. Let's dive into the first Chinese Grand Prix week in 5 years. I grew up around Texas Motor Speedway. Literally, one of the first things I learned when I got my driver's license was to avoid I-35 West on race weekends unless I loved traffic. I hadn't been to a race in at least 15 years, so I of course jumped at the chance to join my athletic colleague Jeff Gluck for NASCAR's visit to Fort Worth this past weekend. I had some healthy skepticism. I knew all the criticisms of TMS coming in, and the grumblings about the quality of racing after Martinsville. I've watched the luster wear off this old cathedral of Texas speed. So when I left the track under the dying light that evening after a pretty terrific race, I allowed myself some hometown pride. We put on a good show. If F1 engines sound like the scream of angels, the next-gen NASCARs sound like roaring gods. Late in the race, I stepped out of the press box elevator onto the concourse, and the thunderous sounds ricocheted off the walls. You feel like you're underneath a coliseum full of giants. Like a chorus of deities are arguing in the room next door, and you're unsure if you should step inside. What if they notice you? Should NASCAR adopt a tire system like F1's, with hards, softs and mediums to choose from? Goodyear is under scrutiny for tires that last too long. NASCAR only provides one compound per race. One thing F1 has going for it is that the tire allotments and different compounds mean strategy is baked into every race. You're guaranteed that entertaining variable, even if tire wear or safety cars don't play a big factor. I've come to appreciate that. For a hot second, it looked like Kyle Larson was about to run away with the race for the next 250 laps. A loose wheel ruined his day and led to plenty of action and chaos up front. Sound like the Australian GP to anyone else? Dominance, luck, racing. The race was a mess, as you might expect from NASCAR's most maligned track. But a good mess. 16 cautions. 23 lead changes. I told Jeff it reminded me of a superspeedway race, with a new hero/contender emerging seemingly every caution. We got overtime and the sport's most popular driver breaking his win drought, in front of one of TMS's best crowds in years. And, 3 hours down the road at Circuit of the Americas, MotoGP put on one heck of show. A pretty good little day of racing in the Lone Star State. October and the United States GP can't come soon enough. China's heavy restrictions during the COVID-19 pandemic kept F1 from racing at the Shanghai International Circuit for 5 years. We're finally back this weekend. So our sprint races, which, as Madeline writes today, has some drivers raising their eyebrows.